Well, Matt, I think you can still hear the collective sigh of Republican relief that Donald Trump didn't go rogue last night. He clearly got the memo. He stuck to the plan. There was none of the aggressive interruptions that we all winced at first time round. Instead, what millions of American voters got was an unvarnished contrast between the two candidates on a set of issues from COVID to climate change. And boy, was that contrast stark.
Keep America great. Keep America great.
They don't call Nashville Music City for nothing. Donald Trump swept into a country chorus of Keep America Great. But it was the advice of his close aides to keep the debate civil that was ringing in his ears.
We are all in the fight for our God-given rights. Keep America one.
And remarkably, for his final bout with rival Joe Biden, the president did.
Anyone who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain as President of the United States of America.
With none of the deafening rancor of the first debate, it meant arguments about serious issues like 220,000 COVID deaths could actually be heard, and the contrast between the candidates was laid bare.
It will go away, and as I say, we're rounding the turn, we're rounding the corner. It's going away.
Only it isn't going away. In fact, as he was speaking, the US set a record for the highest number of new coronavirus cases, 75,000 in a single day.
I will take care of this. I will end this. I will make sure we have a plan.
If Donald Trump's plan was to stay calm, it worked. But his plan to pin complex corruption charges on Joe Biden failed as hard as he tried.
If this stuff is true about Russia, Ukraine, China, other countries, Iraq, if this is true, then he's a corrupt politician.
Right.
So don't give me the stuff about how you're this innocent baby. Joe, they're calling you a corrupt politician.
By they, he means him. Even Senate Republicans have concluded there's no truth to the charges. Biden urged voters, like the university students watching on, to assess character, not corruption.
You know who I am. You know who he is. You know our reputations for honor and telling the truth. The character of the country is on the ballot. Our character is on the ballot. Look at us closely.
With less interruption, the anchor was able to do just that. At one point, asking Donald Trump if his description of the Black Lives Matter movement as a symbol of hate was helpful.
What do you say to Americans who say that kind of language from a president is contributing to a climate of hate and racial strife?
It makes me sad because I am the least racist person. I can't even see the audience because it's so dark, but I don't care who's in the audience. I'm the least racist person in this room.
An answer that somehow clumsily suggested the opposite.
He didn't stop at, oh, well, I'm not racist. He had to go to the most extra thing he could possibly say and say no, I'm in fact better than all of you.
For others, COVID-19 was the biggest issue.
Because with the pandemic going on right now, it's a really scary time. And I honestly don't feel safe with how Trump has handled it.
While some Joe Biden supporters were left deflated.
I think that this is just sort of classic Biden not using the artillery that he had to make a move.
Though in perhaps the most memorable exchange of the night, Biden was visibly angry over revelations that more than 500 children at the Mexican border are still separated from their parents under President Trump's zero-tolerance immigration policy.
And those kids are alone. Nowhere to go. Nowhere to go. It's criminal.
They are so well taken care of. They're in facilities that were so clean.
A response that provided the rawest contrast between the two candidates.
4 more years. Come on, everybody, 4.
But one that's not likely to turn off any voters, the majority of whom, just 11 days from the election, have already made up their minds.
Siobhan, as ever, both sides are claiming victory here, but does this actually move the dial? Does it change anything with the voters?
Well, I think, Matt, if Donald Trump had behaved the same way in the first debate, it might have made a difference for him in the polls. But coming as it does just 11 days before the election, with more than 50 million Americans having voted already, and with very few undecided voters left, it is unlikely that last night's debate will have any significant impact. Ironically, it was Joe Biden who had a moment that he might regret with his admission very late on that he plans to phase out oil in favour of renewable energy. The president has been trying for weeks to say that under Joe Biden, tens of thousands of jobs will be lost in oil-rich key states like Texas and Pennsylvania. And Joe Biden gave it to him on a plate last night, much to the president's visible glee and to the dismay of Joe Biden's team. If Joe Biden does end up losing this election, he may well end up regretting that moment. For now, though, Matt, he is still comfortably ahead in the polls.